You are what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking
for. As crafters, we like to try different things. I have tried many things from jewelry making, paper crafts, journaling, bookmaking, as well as knitting and painting. I thought it would be really cool to pick up some fun stuff to create a stamp press tool for the door of my Misti. I currently have this peacock glass paperweight that I've added a round furniture protector to the bottom of to create a pressure tool to apply to the door of my Misti when stamping. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I made my own? I came across this clear casting resin at Michael's, and I picked up some supplies to bring my idea to life. So let's check it out. First, I'm working on a self-healing cutting mat so I don't ruin my workstation. And I've got this 2-part clear casting resin. I've got some plastic mixing cups, some coffee stir sticks, and this silicone baking mat that has these little round decorative funnel cake looking things. Okay, so let's open up the resin, and inside we have 2 bottles. We have a part A and a part B. Part A is the clear casting resin, and part B is the casting hardener. The instructions tell us that we need to mix equal amounts of part A and part B by volume. Then we need to mix together those 2 parts slowly and thoroughly, and then pour slowly and evenly into your silicone mold. So this resin is not a 5-minute process. It gives you 30 minutes of time to work with it, 12 hours to cure, and then 72 hours to fully cure. So I'm going to pull out 2 plastic mixing cups, and then I also decided to take a look into my little mixed media drawer to see what I've got that can create something fun. So you can use glitter, perfect pearls, mica powders, little embellishments, and all different kinds of stuff that you can mix inside of this. Now, I've never done this before, but I thought, let's try it out. The worst I could do is it turns out to be, a fun time that I had and end up throwing it in the garbage. So I dug through all of my little bits and pieces here, and I picked out a beautiful blue mica powder, as well as some stars that are kind of white and iridescent. So I'm going to take my 2 mixing cups and grab a stir stick. I'll start with part A. I'm going to open up that bottle, and I'm going to measure this by eye. So I'm going to put 1 of the bottles in 1 cup and 1 of the bottles in the other cup so that we have the exact same amount in both cups, and then I'll mix them together. If you have a scale, you can do it by weight, which is probably a lot easier, but I thought this is simple for me. I can handle this. So I put in a little bit. I'm not sure how much I'm going to need. So I put in about 1 inch into the bottom of this cup. Then I grabbed the next bottle and poured about 1 inch into the other cup. Now I'm making sure that I pour nice and slow. I sped it up for the video, but I did pour it slow to avoid sort of air bubbles and things coming up inside. Okay, so I'm just checking the cups, looking through the clear cups to make sure I've got the same level in both cups, and I'm happy with that. So now I'm not sure what to do. So I have part A in my left hand and part B in my right hand. Part B is the hardening liquid, essentially, that makes everything hard. So I wasn't sure which cup to add my embellishments to, and I thought, well, why don't I put it into part A? Since part B is the hardening, I'm not exactly sure what the process would be to do this correctly, but this turned out just fine. I tapped in some of that mica powder. I didn't know how much I needed. I just tapped away, put a little bit in, and then I opened up my little stars and shook a bunch of cute little stars inside of there. And then I took my little stir stick and started mixing it up. Now I did this very slowly to make sure that I didn't disturb the liquid too much or make it all bubbly. But as I started mixing, I was so fascinated with the color here. Because it's mica powder, it's got that shimmer to it, and it's so rich and vibrant, and those little stars floating around in there. I'm so excited to see the finished result of this. So I'm going to take the second cup with the hardening liquid and I'm going to start pouring it nice and slowly and stirring as I pour. And I sped it up here. I did not go this fast. I went very slow. It took me like, 5 minutes to empty out this little tiny cup. And then I just scraped all around the inside of the edges to make sure I didn't miss anything. I wanted to get all of that liquid so that we had the correct equal amounts. I didn't want to leave one drop left behind. So I scraped that cup out. And then now I'm going to go back to this cup and spend a good minute or two mixing. So I just go nice and slow, making sure that everything gets mixed together well without over mixing it and causing it to be bubbly. So once I'm happy with the mixed result, I'm going to grab my silicone baking mat. I also thought it would be wise to grab a silicone spatula in case I needed to scrape my cup. So here we go. I've got my mold here, and I'm just going to pour ever so slowly into the mold. Once again, I did speed up a little bit the pouring so that you weren't watching me pour for 5 minutes, but I did pour this nice and slow to make sure that I got the perfect level of liquid inside. I didn't want to overfill it because I don't want it to sort of, seep out over the edges, but I wanted it to go right to the very top. And there we go. Looks good. Happy with that. I did a quick YouTube search to make sure that I could do this. I wanted to get rid of some of those bubbles that kept popping up to the surface as the liquid sat. So I grabbed a barbecue lighter, and because this is a heat-resistant silicone baking mold, it's perfectly fine. I'm not going to worry about melting it, and I can just bring heat to the top of my resin and heat up the top to get rid of those bubbles, and that worked perfectly. So whatever was left in my cup, I didn't want to waste it. There's some beautiful fun stars in there, and so I dumped the rest of it out into the silicone mold, and I used my spatula to scrape that cup and pour all of the resin into my mold. Now I only got a little piece inside of here, and I thought, well, if it turns out great, I wonder if it's possible to layer on another color once the mold was dried and cured. So we'll find out later about that, but for now I'm going to leave this to sit and cure. I'm going to clean up my mess here. All of my cups and stir stick and little towels and things, whatever I used, I'm not going to keep. I'm going to toss it because I'm not sure if it's safe for me to rinse it out in my sink. I don't want it to clog my drains or anything like that, so I'm just going to toss everything that's in the cup here. So there are a little bit of air bubbles in this piece, in the smaller little piece that I poured, so I'll heat those up and then go back to my big one and get rid of any more air bubbles. And now I'm just going to leave this to cure. So in 12 hours, this should be ready to go. So I'll come back tomorrow morning and see what this looks like. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see. Okay, so here we are the next day. I have let this sit for 12 hours on the dot and not a second longer. And I'm just going to pop my little piece out of the silicone mold, just being very gently, because again, it takes 72 hours for it to fully cure. So here we go. Look at this. Oh my goodness. I've decided to leave the little piece in here. I want to try and see if I'm able to layer with other colors of resin. And so I'm just going to leave that for another day. So we've got this gorgeous, sparkly, metallic shimmer, super cool looking, icy. I can't even describe it. It's just, I was so proud of myself when this popped out. I thought this was the easiest project I'd ever made with the coolest result. I did find the edges were just a little bit rough, so I thought maybe if I took a nail file, I could just kind of sand those down a little bit, and I was just careful to not scratch the sides or anything. I just wanted to, soften those edges a bit so that there wasn't anything sharp. It filed very easily. It was really simple to clean it up. It's ready to go. I'm so excited. I ran downstairs to my kitchen and I grabbed a Ziploc bag that I have full of little furniture protector pads. I bought this package off of Amazon and it has just about every size you could possibly need. And I found one circle that will fit perfectly onto my little piece. And it has an adhesive back on it, so I peeled off the release paper and took my time to line it up onto the center of the bottom here. And then the idea for the furniture protector pad is that it's supposed to slide and be nice and easy to go across the Misti door. Let's test it out. Feels great in the hand, slides on the door, there's nothing sharp. It's exactly what I wanted. I'm so excited about this, and I'm actually excited to make more. This turned out way better than I expected, and the top, I was kind of worried it would be sharp or, not feel the greatest on your hand, but nope, it's beautiful. It's so smooth and soft and sparkly, and I'm so proud of, it's something that I made. And you can see all my iridescent little stars in the little swirls there. I love it so much. Here are some close-up pictures of my beautiful stamp press tool that I've made out of clear casting resin. I encourage you to try something you've never tried before. You never know how much fun you're gonna have, or maybe end up falling in love with a new craft altogether. And that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed this process and got some inspiration and creative ideas. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd love to have you along my crafting journey. Thanks so much for joining me today. Coming up on screen is a couple of videos I think you may enjoy. Have yourself a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!